and then some extra, you know, cable. Good morning. Well, it's about a day or two later. Basically, I managed to get the hole through there. It should be wide enough to get the two pipes through, and the air conditioning pipes, and then some extra, you know, cables if I want to do electrical stuff as well. Well, I'm going to have to. So it should be big enough. One of the things I noticed is that, and this is before I started, take a bit of a chance, but it should be fine. There's basically this joist over here that's sitting. Well, it's actually more like a beam that goes right across and supports. It's sitting, and before they had a door underneath that was in one of the small bedrooms there. They've kind of filled it in and they made a cupboard out of it. So I think they just put kind of like clay tiles on the inside to kind of block it off, and then they made a hallway down the way to get to the bathroom and the room where the water heater is and that sort of thing. So there's a big crack that went down, that goes down right under this this joist. So it's a little bit, makes me a little bit nervous, but it should be fine. It's old. I've been watching it since we moved in. I put a pencil in one of the crack holes, and you can kind of tell, because if you put the end of a pencil into the crack, and over time it doesn't fall out, because, you know, with movement of the house or like that, or it gets wider, you don't have to worry about it. A lot of this is just sort of settling, because we had so much water collecting in the back garden. The whole, well, what there is of a foundation probably sunk or settled a little bit, so that caused that cracking. It doesn't help that there's a big hole underneath on this side of it that's not supporting it. Once again, we're near the top of the house. It's not like the whole wall is going to go. If anything, this beam might shift a little bit, but I'm not expecting a big collapse, because all it's doing is holding this section of roof in. So the beams don't go totally across the whole length of the house. There's like a section on the right side of the house, there's a section in the hallway in the middle, and there's a section on the far side of the house. So those don't actually connect, which is why some areas I can get under and I can insulate, like in here, and the other ones are farther that direction, so they become lower as the roof goes down, and you can't reach there, which is why I got the roofers to throw some insulation there. Anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Just in case you notice that it wasn't me causing the cracking, I'm pretty sure that we're safe. So, but I'm still going to be filling that in with some mortar and stuff like that, and then I'll just keep an eye on it in case it ever does move, which it won't. But anyways, what are we doing today is I'm going to be cutting the hole here. So it's going to go from the far end over there where you saw all the way through the pipes and then into here. So I'm going to cut about the same size hole through, and that gets us into above what will be our games room, or, you know, like a spare bedroom basically. And then one pipe will turn this way and it'll go to the top of the stairs, and the other one's going to continue along, and it's going to go down and then into the bathroom on the first floor, which is the one across from our bedroom. Be the big one on that floor. There'll be a little area over there at the other end where all the ducting comes up from the VMC water heater that will be insulated, and then at a future date I'll pull that all up because it's easy to go there. And then basically I'll run the extra pipes when we get this bathroom and that bathroom, and they get the kitchen done and our ensuite. That's pretty much an easy fix, and that'll be a whole nother video when I do that end. But for now, the whole idea is to get this section done, get the insulation all in there, and hopefully be a little warmer this winter, because it's getting cold. All right, let's get to it. And then my process basically is, what I do is I kind of roughly measure out. So I need 125 pipe and a 125 pipe, so I do 250, and I do 4 holes roughly where it is, drill them through, because I've got one drill bit that'll go through that 600 millimeter wall, and then I go the other side of the wall, do a quick check to make sure it's kind of going into something I shouldn't be, in case there's a big joist here or whatever, or I'm into who knows what, right? So then I basically go check those sizes. Those holes, they look good. Then I start chipping from this side. I get through half of it because my my bits are about 250-ish. So I can get in most of it, and then I go the other side and I have the marks for the other 4 holes, and I work from the other way so that eventually I get through to the middle of it, if that makes sense. And then I have to, you know, it's never going to be a very tidy hole, which is good. Not good, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to mortar around it eventually to stop the air flowing through. Anyways. that's the process. Well, there you go. So I drew it. That's why I don't just start chipping away. I like to see where things end up. So this hole here, I've already poked through the ceiling in the other room. So the other room ceiling's about here, which doesn't make any sense, but you know, whatever. So I'm going to have to raise everything up quite a bit. So I'll start about here and I'll raise this a little higher up here. Let's see. But, you know, that was me thinking, well, I'll just go above the floor, the ceiling joist. About 10 centimeters, and I'm about 10 centimeters. A little low, but that one didn't poke. I don't know. That's why I do the holes first and just start smashing through, because I'll end up going through the ceiling of the place next door, the room next door. Anyways, got an idea now where to go. I'll do about here and come up another. If I raise it 5 centimeters, put 2 inches. Should be good, and then bring that up, yeah, another 2 inches. A lot of work though, going back and forth and checking, and we're getting there. Well, it's the next morning. I know it seems like I'm taking a long time to do things, but when you're up in these kind of spaces, or at least me, considering how, getting older and whatnot, it's really difficult because I've got to rest a knee on a joist and I've got to stretch out this way. And this is, I don't know how tall this is. This is me from not even waist up height in here. So it's quite difficult work, especially when I'm going sideways and pushing. And so I just don't want to hurt myself, so I'm taking it real slow. The worst part is over, which is knocking these holes through. I may have to take a little more off from the other side. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to remove all these big stones, rocks I guess, and clean up in here for a bit, and then try running the pipes through and see just how much I need. I'll guesstimate how much the conduit's going to be for the AC pipes, and then just kind of guess how many electrical cables are going to go through. Probably not more than 4 or 5. Most of the wiring for plug sockets is going to go under the floors. These are just basically going to need lights for certain rooms, and that's it. So we should be pretty quick to get, or shouldn't need much space to get those electrical cables through. Anyways, let's clean up, and we'll see how we do. Well, it's another day. Again, didn't look like I did much yesterday because I twinged my back going down the ladder a bit. So I thought, no, let's just stop. It's quite difficult getting these bags down with a ladder and you're kind of wrestling them. They're quite heavy. So anyways, I stopped and I'm feeling much better today. So I'm going to continue on. I've also had to think about things and I've decided I'm going to reroute one of the vents a different direction. So instead of going through here, I'm only going to put one through here. I'm going to, instead of the two, I was going to have one going to the top of the stairs and one going to the bathroom on the first floor, the large one. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to run one through here to the top of the stairs, and then what I'm going to do is on the floor below me, which would be the top floor, I'm going to run it under the bathroom and across, and then that way I don't have to cut through the wall this way to try to get the vent on the side of the wall in the bathroom and near the top of the ceiling. I'm just going to basically come across through the joists like that, and then I will drop down through the ceiling and just stick the vent on the top. It'd be easier to do that. So let's do that instead. Anyways, what I'm going to do is continue doing this little area and the room this way and then the room that way, clean it all up, get rid of all the debris, and then I will give it a vacuum. Anyways, let's get back to it.